Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your time today. And as Dan indicated, and thank you for the introduction, Dan, I am Ed Kars, and I'm one of the co-founders of EquiX. And we are the easy solution to commercial contents claims. So for the benefit of those who don't spend much time on the property side of the house, commercial contents is sometimes called business personal property, or BPP. And it's essentially everything in a commercial property loss that isn't the building or a vehicle. So it's things like equipment and tools and furnishings and stock held for sale, things like that. And in the US, that's about an $8 to $10 billion a year indemnity spend. And I can tell you for a fact that adjusters really, really hate doing contents claims. They often involve dozens, hundreds, sometimes thousands of individual items. They can be really complicated and really messy, okay? Now, as is the case with any claim situation, adjusters have to make a choice. They have to choose, do I want to save time or do I want to save money? It's hard to do both at the same time. And if an adjuster chooses to save time, which in the case of business personal property losses, they often do because of how much they dislike the claim, this leads to a lot of corner cutting, and it can also lead to overpayments. The industry itself estimates by surveys that BPP contents claims are overpaid on the order of 20 to 30%. I want to put those two numbers together for you. $8 to $10 billion a year of indemnity, overspent 20 to 30%. So there's a lot of waste in this, okay? Of course, the alternative is that the adjuster has to dig in and do a really thorough job on these claims, which takes an enormous amount of time. And the problem with that, of course, is no one has that time. We can't delay the settlement, and that's really not an option. So EquiX proposes to be the BPP claims solution. We propose there is a way to save time and money, and it's by using our software as a service technology, which is available to use directly by carriers and adjusters or via a fully outsourced field service that we provide. It's easy to use, easy to install, and we have demonstrated returns on investment of 5 to 15 times in the claims that we've worked so far. And what that means is for every dollar you spend on our field services or our software solution, we find typically $5 to $15 of savings. So there's a solution that more than pays for itself. So for those of you who are familiar with the property side of the house, you may say, well, look, I've heard of other companies that do contents work. So how's EquiX different? Well, probably what you've heard of are a lot of companies that optimize on doing residential claims and not commercial, and there's a reason for that. In addition to being much larger on average, commercial claims are often much more complex. They also involve items that adjusters may have limited or no familiarity with, so they really don't know how to evaluate them. And oftentimes the pricing for these items is really hard to find. So let's use a quick example here. So something you may find in an average residential claim might be, say, a 65-inch TV. Now, if the homeowner proposes a $15,000 replacement value for his or her 65-inch TV, I think most people right off the bat would say, that's really inappropriate, it's way too high. And if you're not sure, you can always go on Google and you can look it up and you can find some comparables that are probably more fairly priced. Well, let's try that same exercise in a commercial claim at, say, a dental office. Now, if a dental office claim has a chair like this, and the dentist says, look, to replace that chair and all the ancillary equipment associated with it, it's going to be $15,000. I think most adjusters would say, well, I really don't know if that's fair or not, and it's going to take me some time to figure it out, and quite a bit of resourcefulness. Now, imagine you have everything in that picture to value. Not just the chair, but there's a monitor. There's a dental x-ray, there's instruments, there's a medical refrigerator, there's all kinds of stuff in there. And you may have several rooms of this to deal with, okay? You can start to see why adjusters really don't like handling these types of claims. There's a lot of stuff to price in here. So let's talk about what the typical BPP or business personal property adjusting process does look like today and what we're working with. To the extent that these things aren't handled from the desk, then oftentimes if it's large enough, an adjuster will visit the site, take some pictures, and they'll interview the insured. Then they take a look around and they say, boy, there's a lot of things here I don't know much about. So they'll turn to the dentist and they'll say, Mr. or Miss Dentist, can you help me out with this because I don't really know a lot about your equipment. So can you fill out this spreadsheet, fill out this form, tell me what you lost, what you think you need to claim, and then, hey, tell me what you think it's going to cost to replace all that. Now, we call that the fox watching the hen house strategy, and that doesn't typically work out very well for the hens. The obvious solution here is not to give the person who's getting the check the right to tell you how big that check should be. And oftentimes the adjuster doesn't, again, have much expertise in this equipment to be even able to push back once they get that list. So this not only leads to a lot of opportunities for those overpayments I identified earlier, but it also ends up with a poor customer experience. And why is that? Well, you're essentially pushing the work for doing all the inventory and the pricing onto the insured, right after they've had a big traumatic loss. So they're dealing with employees, they're dealing with trying to maintain their customers, and now you've given them work that many of them rightly see as being something the adjuster should help them out with. Well, EquiX changes that paradigm. So first and foremost, our technology guides either the adjuster or one of our field representatives on creating an accurate on-site inventory, because if you don't know what you lost, you can't come up with an accurate valuation for it. So that's the first step. Then, because it's digital, we can take that item list and we can source it out to our network of vendors, who then look at these items and bid on what they think the replacement value should be. Not only what the appropriate replacement item might be, but what the price is. Now, by breaking the process up this way, we have a lot of really great benefits. First and foremost, we control indemnity because we're getting third-party arm's-length valuations on products from experts. But second, we also see substantial reductions in cycle times. And I can tell you that oftentimes the contents phase of a property claim is one of the last things to get settled. So by taking that out of the equation, 50 to 75% reduction in cycle time means that a file doesn't linger on your desk. You can close it along with the other phases of the loss. And all these things together greatly improve customer satisfaction. So far, I just briefly mentioned here our vendor partners. So who are these folks? Why do they want to work with EquiX? Well, we look for 2 to 3 solid vendors in each industry that we cover. Okay? We look for folks who have some characteristics you might imagine. First and foremost, a national footprint. If there's a loss in Seattle or a loss in Jacksonville, we want you to be able to ship to that and service it. We also want you to have an extensive catalog of products in your industry, and we also want you to have a significant amount of expertise, because if we show you a lost item, we want your opinion as an expert in what the right replacement item might be. Now, vendors really like working with EquiX because we connect them to opportunities that they very well might never otherwise see. So first and foremost, we can show them something that's been damaged and probably needs to be replaced, so they know that it's something they can help with. They know that it's an insured loss if it comes through our system, so they know that there's probably funding and cash available through the settlement. And furthermore, they also know, because of the fact that this is a large enough loss to be claimed, probably that there's an incentive to buy soon. Whoever lost this item to get back in business, they probably need to buy something replacement quick. So I won't go through all these bullet points, but these are the list of industries that we currently cover. They cover a substantial portion of the types of business personal property claims we have been seeing at EquiX so far. And we're continuously adding new industries to the extent that our customers want us to cover those. In addition to doing replacements of totaled out items, we also, through our third-party services, provide repair estimates, and we can also help arrange salvage. And we're also working with some carriers right now on pre-loss inspections and some underwriting pricing. So, in totality, what am I looking for here? If you have a book of business in commercial property, or if you manage commercial property losses, please come talk to us. Because EquiX is a technology solution, a unique technology solution, that can help you save time, save money, and save your adjuster's sanity in managing these very complicated business personal property losses. Thank you for your time.